Good evening and a warm welcome to a new season. The 2024-2025 is just it's not even 2 days now till we get started again. And it's been a very interesting summer, definitely, in terms of obviously we had the Euros and now we've got the transfer window. And I think there'll be a lot of discussion around that going into the first game of the season. Before I start, just want to give a warm welcome to my host, G. Good evening, G. How's your summer been?
Evening. Yeah, pretty good. It's pretty busy at the start of it. Slowed down a bit now, which is nice. So relaxing and ready to get straight back into it on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're there Saturday, aren't you?
Yes. Finally got a ticket for the men's game. Buzzing.
Brilliant. No, great to hear. Great to hear. And looking forward to having a few drinks with you.
Of course, always.
Good stuff. A very warm welcome to Andy. Good evening, mate. You finished the season with us last season. You've started this season with us, so we must have done something right.
On me as well, maybe. Yeah. No, looking forward to it.
Good man. And how's your summer been in general?
Yeah, pretty quiet. Continued to work throughout. I go away next week for our little break, and then back to normal after that.
All hands on the pump after that, mate, won't it? Heading into that festive season, it'll be. Good evening, Charlie. How you doing, mate? Long time no see.
Good evening. Yeah, it's been quite a while, to be fair. Just been really busy doing like physio and ACL stuff, but that's coming along nicely now. So.
Oh, here he is. Now you see him, now you don't. He's back again. all well, though, mate. All going well then.
Yeah, all going well, and. I got some good news. Saturday, I'll be there.
Oh, mate, there's another man that is going to be there. Brilliant news to hear. Brilliant to hear.
I got my ticket 5 minutes ago, so I'm buzzing.
Ah, good man. Look forward to seeing you Saturday.
Definitely.
And good evening, Jonesy. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm okay, mate. Not too bad. I got back from holiday this week, so it's a bit of holiday blues. But yeah, I'm all right. Bit skint, thanks to the kids. But yeah, I'm good.
Mate, that's what they're there for. They're there for.
Okay, now.
And a very warm good evening to Ryan. Spent most of my summer with you during the Euros, haven't I, mate?
Yeah, just a tad.
We've had a few good days, we've had a few bad days, but yeah, how you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, you spent more time with me than the other half.
Yeah, Don't let her hear that, mate. Don't let her hear that. And obviously, a warm welcome to obviously all our guests that are obviously commented already. So good evening to Lagoon and Mutley TV. Good evening, Luke. Good evening to George. Good evening, Sumin. Good evening to Jeanette. And good evening to Mr. Tom. Yeah, I don't think he wants to talk about football right now. Did that finish 3-0 yesterday? Am I right in saying?
Yep. Hence why doesn't like football right now.
Yeah, home game as well. That was, wasn't it? So yeah, not the best of starts for Leeds. So obviously the 2024-25 season is upon us and starts on Saturday. Well, it actually kicks off tomorrow night, doesn't it? With I believe Fulham versus Manchester United. But the real football starts at the Emirates on Saturday. 3 p.m. kickoff at the Emirates, home game. What's everyone's kind of thoughts? Going to go to you, G, first. It's been an interesting summer, isn't it? I think people expected a little bit more kind of work to be done by now, but obviously Calafiori's coming. But there isn't really much else happened, is there, as of yet?
No, and it's understandable to a point, isn't it? Because like last year, we had no tournament, so we could just do our business and go as we please. But this year, obviously, with the Euros and the Copa America, things naturally are going to be slower. But then you get to the end of the tournament, don't you, and think, right, okay, it's going to kick in now. And it hasn't kicked in, but in a way, it hasn't kicked in for anyone, I don't think. Everyone's been a bit stale in the market, so I don't know what's going on. But we haven't really got long left either, have we? 2 weeks, I think, till it closes? And, I've said before many times that I prefer business to be done, so we start. I don't like this it being closed after the league starts. So, yeah, it's been a bit slow. Outgoings as well, more importantly, I think. I think from chats we've all had before that the outgoings were probably going to be more important, weren't they, to get those last bit of dead wood out before we could just focus on who we're bringing in better options. But that sort of hasn't happened either. So, yeah, it's a tad worrying, but I'm not going to blow up about it just yet.
Yeah, I'll probably share a little bit of a different opinion as it goes around it. I think, obviously, with the Euros and the Copa America, I don't think it has made it easy. I do think that we're probably waiting for some dominoes to fall into pieces as well in terms of the effect. But I'm not going to panic, and I'll tell you the reason why I'm not going to panic this year is because the way we finished at the end of last year. 14 wins out of 16, and if it means that we get the right people in the last couple of weeks, then I'm all for it. I don't think we need to panic. I think we've got the team there to compete against any team in the Premier League, and we got 2 out of 3 home games in terms of before the transfer window closes. Well, I know the Brighton game's the day after, but you pretty much, if you sign someone on the 30th, you're not going to be playing them on the 31st. But I just think that I do think we'll make the right business by the end of the window. I just think that this season is a bit of a unique one, and I think you're going to see a lot of activity probably in this last 2 weeks across the whole board. If you look at all the other clubs, everyone's pretty much in the same boat. I know we've got Chelsea, but they're just in a breed of their own, aren't they? But yeah, not sure what you kind of think on it, Andy. Be good to kind of get your opinion
on the Chelsea situation.
No, just on the transfer window.
Us in general, yeah, I agree with G. It's literally one of them. It's a slow window for everybody. I think I'd been really concerned if City had been out and bought 2, or Liverpool had been out and bought a couple, but no one's doing any business at the moment. Villa are probably the most active. A couple of decent signings going in at Villa there, but no, and I'm not too stressed about it. Let's not forget, we finished the season just like what you said. We got Timber fully fit now for this season. We got the Calafiori coming in. So Timber's like a new signing all over again. So, no, I'm really optimistic.
Yeah, going over to you, Charlie. I know we've had quite a few discussions in the old group over the transfer window. What are you expecting over the next 2 weeks? What do you think that we need to be able to not just compete with Man City this year, because we pretty much did that last year, but to take over them?
Well, I think everyone goes on about goals being our major problem, and it wasn't goals itself that was our problem. It was just key moments in big games where we've missed chances because we didn't have like an out-and-out striker. And I think everyone, even rivals, they all know that we could do with an out-and-out striker. But for me, personally, I've been quite relaxed, the same as you, because we've got a strong team already. For me, we bought in another defender. So that's hopefully going to stop Zinchenko playing left back, and hopefully he can play midfield now when he plays. And the midfield, I mean, no one's really left from the midfield. I mean, Jorginho and Partey is still here, and we're bringing in Marino by the looks of it, which is quite close. So in that sense, no one's really left other than Smith Rowe, and obviously he wasn't going to play anyway. The only position in the midfield I'd say we could be weak is if Odegaard didn't play, but then that would be down to, I'd say, Fabio Vieira or whoever to step up. But no, it's the attacker. If we sign an attacker, like a good attacker, of course, someone that can predominantly play on the right-hand side if it's not a striker, then yeah, I'm relaxed and ready to go, definitely.
Yeah, some good points there. Jonesy, going over to you. Obviously, another situation is the Aaron Ramsdale situation. Do you think he's going to depart before, obviously, the end of the window?
Yeah, he'll probably go and we'll get Chesney in. But no, he'll probably depart. I don't know if the kid we've signed is good enough to step up, so we'll probably look to bring in another keeper somewhere. I know the Wolves guy has been mentioned and stuff like that. But yeah, he needs to go. He needs to play. It'd be nice to see him play and go and move on, because you don't like him to. He's such a good player in and around the squad. You don't really want to see him sit there and waste his career, unless he still wants to be at Arsenal and fight for his place. That could be what he wants to do, but you don't know, do you? But be interesting to see where he goes.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one that will happen. I don't think we'll get a transfer fee for him, if I'm being totally honest at the moment. I think I can only see that one end up on a loan with maybe an obligation to buy. I'm just struggling to see who's going to come in for him and stump up the cash we need. And going to go to you, Ryan, around the Eddie Nketiah situation at the moment. Obviously, Marseille were interested in him, put in a few bids. Obviously, they were rejected. They didn't want to obviously go to Arsenal's expectation. Bournemouth then apparently were interested, but they've now gone to another direction over the last 24 hours. Are you concerned by this situation? Do you think Eddie Nketiah will still be in the club come transfer deadline day and it's passed?
With all due respect, if we want to win this league title, players like Eddie, we need an entire squad to contribute. And Eddie showed last year, barring Sheffield United and the odd Fulham at the start of the season, he didn't really contribute when he got brought on in terms of actually scoring the goals, or even this pre-season he's been poor. He's not got involved. And I mean, for me, my biggest gripe this pre-season is that the minutes he's getting, he's been linked heavily away with Marseille, as you just mentioned. He agreed personal terms. He discussed personal terms and agreed it with said club, Marseille. And yet he was still getting minutes that certain other players that wanted to stay, that hadn't agreed terms with another club in London, was excited and basically put to the side like, you're going one way or the other, you're out. We don't want you. And that sort of that's grinded my gears at how that's been dealt with. But for me, the fact that he's agreed to personal terms in the first place, so tells me he's not committed. Long term wise, he knows he's not for this club. He's not committed, and I think he will go. I think it'd be deadline day. It'd be lastminute.com, Palace. As I said in the group chat earlier, it's sort of, if you think about it, Eddie, Crystal Palace, the Eagles, it's sort of written. It's there. Off you go. Make your name for yourself.
You've been watching too many conspiracy programs like you haven't.
No. Just Eddie the Eagle, that's all.
I'm going to go back over to you with this one, Andy, because with it, like the situation with Eddie at the moment, are we saying that potentially with us not being able to kind of sell him, that then we can't really bring in what we want to bring in?
Yeah, sadly, I think that is exactly the case. I think the club clearly have said to Eddie, you can move on at the right price, so that he knows himself he's not really part of the fixture there. So it's a shame, but he's a young kid. I think he'll go in the next couple of weeks. He'll end up at somewhere like Ipswich or something like that, or Southampton, or there must be one of them clubs that Eddie could go along to and do a hell of a job for. But yeah, another one that's going to go now.
Sorry, mate, I totally missed that. My internet switched off.
I'm just flagging you off. It's all right.
Yeah, that's all right, mate. Most people do. Yeah, I don't know if you want to follow up on that one, G, because I totally missed what was said.
Yeah, he was just saying. Andy was just saying it's the likelihood for him would be like a club like Ipswich or possibly Southampton, that kind of thing. I also agree with Ryan. I think it could be one that happens like the last couple of days, comes out of nowhere and then gets done and dusted in a click of a finger. But it's going to keep us on our toes, isn't it? Every day that ticks until that day is going to be a bit stressful of us, without being disrespectful to him, of course. But we all know that it's time to we need better than that, don't we? He's had the chances the last season or so, and it's not working. So we've got to do what's right and clear out, unfortunately.
Yeah, and just going back to you, Andy. What do you think we need by the end of the window at this moment of time?
Definitely another centre midfielder. I still think we're a little bit light on the left side.
Yeah,
I still think we're light. But yeah, I think Marino coming in, it could be a massive, like a proper player coming from that Spanish squad, got all the pedigree, handle the big occasions. It just seems to be like the perfect fit for us. So if he does come in, then fantastic. I'm maybe it's not like a lot of people. I'm not that fussed about a centre forward coming in. If it happened, great. There'd be no issues whatsoever. If it was an Isak or a Gyökeres or whatever. But I'm quite relaxed about the Havertz or Jesus, going into the season as well.
I think that's a good point about Havertz, isn't it? Like, he had a very strong end of the last season. I know he only scored 14 goals, but when you start analysing it, he didn't really start playing up front properly till February, did he? So, do we think that he can achieve 20 goals in a season? I think my personal opinion is I think he can do it, but I think he does have to be a little bit more prolific at times in front of goal.
Yeah, he's got to be more ruthless. it doesn't seem to have that ruthless instinct when it comes to finishing, which maybe would get him another 7 or 8 goals a season if he had that in him. But don't forget what he brings to our team and our squad in the way that he can link up play. And, he's massive for us. Any team in the world will take Havertz when he's on top of his game, and we're lucky to have him at the moment. And I think Arteta's got him in a place where he loves to play. I think he feels as though he's loved at the club, and luckily we're the ones that are bearing fruit from that.
I've got your team here. That I think this is your team that you've obviously predicted for the first game of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, there he is. Obviously, you've gone.
Yeah.
I obviously can't see the goalkeeper's name. Sorry. You've gone for obviously Raya in goal.
Yes,
Ben White,
yeah.
Saliba, Gabriel, Sinchenko.
Yeah.
Midfield, Partey, Odegaard, Rice. Saka on the right, Havertz up front, and Jesus on the left. Do you think Gabriel Jesus will be utilised quite a lot more on the wing this year?
Do you know there's a big possibility? Yeah, because he's so explosive, and he can do things that other players can't. I mean, I can't recall any player in the Premiership that can go by players like with ease the way that Jesus can. So he can change games in seconds. So I think he'll have a massive impact, and if we can keep him fit, it could be phenomenal for us this year. And it'll be quite kind of a worry, I suppose, for Martinelli, who's ahead of him, or even Havertz, that Jesus is breathing down the necks. So it can only bode well for us though in the long term, because that makes sure everybody's on their A game when push comes to shove.
Yeah, I've always felt with Jesus, like when he was best at Man City, wasn't it? He was coming in from obviously the wing. I think for me, I don't like. Obviously, I would love to get a left winger in, but I just think at the moment, with the options that he's got, and if he does get another forward in, I think that literally pushes Jesus out there as well. And when you got Jesus, Martinelli, and Trossard,
That's it. Yeah.
I actually don't see us getting a left winger in this window, because I just sit there and think there's enough options out there, isn't there? And I know Martinelli had a bit of I would say an up and down season last year, to be quite pleasant to him, because there were factors, I think. But if we can get him back to his 2022 to 2023 kind of form, that would be a big plus as well. And I think taking the workload off him at times is definitely a thing with Martinelli. And I think Jesus will be a great option potentially to be able to do that.
Yeah, phenomenal. My frustration with Martinelli will always be his final ball. Always. Yeah. The kid's got everything, got pace, he's got desire. My God, he'll run through brick walls for your team. But to actually get this kid to actually pick out the final ball and be ruthless with it, whether it be a cross, a layback, shooting himself, whatever, he gets into the best positions and can be the most frustrating player for them reasons. And that's where you can almost do it, like taking the best bits of Martinelli, the best bits of Trossard, you'll have a worldie. Linking the two, but if he can just sort that side of his game out, because we know how exciting this kid can be.
Yeah, and I'm going to go to Charlie, because you've always been a massive fan of Martinelli. Does that still remain the case?
Yeah, of course, 100%. For me, he starts. If everyone's fit, that plays. For me, he starts. But I know he was poor last season, but like you said, I think there was factors to that.
Do you think the Moreno signing could be a supportive factor as well? I think part of last season was that there was never established midfield yet again till probably till February time. If we're being totally honest, like we didn't know whether to play Declan Rice in the number 6, number 8. Do you think that had effect on his form as well?
Yeah, definitely, because Havertz was playing that position at the start of the season, wasn't he? And he was sort of lost to begin with. And then obviously teams had started doubling up on our wingers. So the space that we were getting out wide, especially for someone like Martinelli, who likes to run at people, where he's being doubled up on, he beat one man and then the other guy would just be covering, or he'd have to go backwards. But obviously he had Xhaka there the season before, and Xhaka was obviously providing that extra support. Havertz weren't really doing that. And I actually think, obviously, if Marino comes in, I don't think Marino's going to play 8. I think he's going to play 6 if Rice is going to stay in that position. And that would be great for Martinelli if Rice stays in that position.
Jonesy, again over to Thomas Partey, because you've been a big, should I say, critic over the last probably 12 to 18 months in terms of obviously probably not his performances, but his reliability.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about this year with Thomas Partey?
For one, stay fit. Because obviously we've all seen what he can do when he's fully fit and he's in that squad. The way he turns on the ball, opens up passes and stuff like that is great. But it for me, it's never been a question of his ability. Never been that. It's been about his reliability and certain other factors. Not going to go into. But I'm surprised to see him still there. I saw his Instagram post and everything today. He's ready for the new season, so it's looking like he's staying. But I'm sure his contract's running out, isn't it, next year or something like that? So it'd be interesting to see what the club do with that. Do we let him go on a free, or do we renew it for a year? I don't know. I think it all depends from now till we start the season till January. How many games he's going to play for us? But he's crucial in that side. We've seen it. When we had all three of them last season, the games, at Spurs and stuff like that. We were amazing with him in that team. He can score a goal as well, a long ranger, which we all love to see. But yeah, he's just got to stay fit. He's got to stay focused, and he's key. If he does that, he's key, and he's going to be one of the most important players in that midfield, along with Rice and Odegaard.
It's an interesting one, isn't it, Ryan? If we'd had Partey for the full season last year, in my opinion, we win the league. I just think that obviously the partnership of Partey and Rice would have obviously pushed us forward in terms of obviously in key games. And it's I do think that sometimes, like last season, that was a difference between us and Man City. Like it's quite easy to highlight obviously Haaland up top, but I do think that having a reliable defensive midfielder in that team for at least 30 to 35 games during a season was totally missed. For you, if he stays fit, does he play the whole season in that role?
I think even if we get initially, I think he will do. And then even if we get Moreno in between now and the end of the window, I think it'll be like we're going to see with Calafiori phased in. I think we're going to see Moreno phased in, like eased in, get used to the teammates, used to the culture, this, that, and the other. And I think over time, near the end of the first half of the season, going into the second half, it'll be more of a Partey went in the big games, or if and when needed, that rotation will come there. Just because we've gone down this route for the last three seasons now, we put so much reliance on Partey in particular being in our midfield, and then when he gets injured, we all panic and we all miss him basically in that midfield. And I think that's the main reason why we had the sluggish compared to the second half of the season anyway. Sluggish start to the season last year was because he got injured again and again and again. And he got Declan, who just come in, who was expecting to be alongside Partey, then had to build a new partnership with Jorginho. Jorginho's been playing more games than he had to, or even thought he would do. And it was just, it's a mix of factors that were the reasons why. I think if he had been injury free, especially that first half of the season, alongside Declan, I think we don't have that sluggish start that we had against the Fulham home, Fulham away, West Ham at home, Aston Villa away, Newcastle away. We don't have them results. I don't think happen, and I think we do go on to win the league. But in general, over the course of the season, if we get Moreno in, I don't see him playing all the games. He'll be utilised to his strengths and his experience of certain fixtures.
Yeah, I think I'm in a personal opinion. I think if he's fit, he plays. For me, I think he's by far the best player when fit to play that role for us. I think what he's going to offer us this year with Moreno coming in, with Declan Rice, is firstly it's going to offer us the flexibility to be able to rest Declan in games. And I think we got to remember as well with Declan Rice that I said the same about Saka last week. They've just come away from a hefty season last year. They've got all the way to the Euro finals this year. I think there's going to be a time in the season with these two players that they are going to need breathers. And I'm quite interested to see what we kind of do in terms of the right wing position. Because I've been having to think about it more and more today. And like, even though I think like the left wing position could obviously prevail us to another level, I think we've got players out there that can absolutely do the job. I think the worry is still for me is what are we going to do for in terms of Saka, because we can't go a third season now. We might even be a third season where we expect him to play from day one to the end of the season. In the last 2-3 years, we've seen what happens. He picks up injuries. His form kind of dips because of it, and then obviously he gets a lot of stick, which I think is absolutely uncalled for, because I think the guys basically carried us, if I'm being totally honest, over the last 3 years. So I'm not sure about yourself, G, but do we think Reece Nelson will leave before the window's out? Do we need another right winger? I know there was talk today regarding the Chelsea winger being mentioned. I just found not. I think people are just putting 2 and 2 together at the moment with that one. But do you think that we need someone else to support him?
Yeah, of course. But then I remember last season we were also talking about why can't we rotate our wingers? Why does he also have to play on the right? He's left-footed. That gives a different dynamic within the game as well, doesn't it? If people now know what he's going to do, pretty much most of the time he's going to cut in on his left. So that's a possibility as well. But of course we need someone, because like you say, since he was about 18, he's played pretty much every single game possible. And you know what he's like. He gets kicked here, there and everywhere, which has its effect when you slice his leg. It's going to make him limp a little bit and dip in form, isn't it? And yeah, in regards to Reece Nelson, it's one of those again. Is it going to... We all straight away thought he's got to be a name. And then there was talks with Leicester pretty early on, which was kind of exciting for all parties, I think. And then that fizzled out, and now you've not heard a single thing since. So is it one that's going to go down to the last couple of days and he goes to again, like a Ipswich or those types of teams? No disrespect, but they're like lower than being at Arsenal, of course. But who knows? Who knows this bloody thing? Sometimes they'll pop up out of nowhere, or we might end up being in a month's time and he's still on the books. But I think it's more the wage, isn't it? He's gone quite a high wage, which isn't great. But if he is going to stay, then he needs to be used. Like, that's one thing we failed with last year, is our rotation. So if he's going to stay, there's got to be some sort of faith in him. So let's bring him in certain games and see what he can actually do, because Saka can't go on like that constantly, because he's going to play every England game as well, don't you? So he's not going to get a rest for those camps. So we've got to sort of help him along the way as well.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think we definitely got to support him this year in terms of how we kind of play him and kind of utilise him. And I think coming off the back of this tournament, where they did play till basically mid-July, like we're only looking at mid-August. I know people say, yeah, but they're footballers. But at the end of the day, when you've played a hard, long season like these two guys have and carried their clubs and then gone through and it's not just going through the games, is it? It's the emotion. I thought there was a lot of emotion in terms of England this summer. Probably, obviously, with the performances that were probably shown at times, weren't really up to standards what the fans expected, but they still got to Euro final at the end of it. I think it's going to be an interesting one, and I think if we can get that right winger in, I think that right winger and Moreno will be pretty much kind of used at times to take the pressure off Declan Rice and kind of Saka. I'm just going to obviously put your team up that you kind of shared with us. I think it's the wrong one, but I think I've done the wrong one. But I'll keep this one up because I know this is one Charlie's after. But I know, G, that you went for Rao in goal, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, but you went for Zinchenko at left back.
Yeah, not because I want to see that happen, but just going off like the pre-season games, he's played, or he's been a part of it quite a lot, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And I know it's the first game back, and it's not, it's anyone's game of the first game back, really, isn't it? You're sort of finding your feet again. So I think because he's been used quite a lot in pre-season, I think that he'll probably start with him rather than chucking in a new guy to the league and everything. I don't think he'll go straight in with that, to be fair. And Timber, it's been talked about that he's had a slight injury, so is it a case of just keeping him resting and managing it properly rather than rushing it, because we don't want that to happen again. So yeah, it's purely because of those factors more than me wanting to see him play, because that's not the case.
And going over to you, Charlie, because I believe this is your team. You'd put California straight into the mix, would you?
Yeah, so I agree with a lot of what G said. I think Zinchenko, to be fair, has been mustard pre-season. Like, I went to the Leverkusen game and he was our best player against Leverkusen, I think. But like I said earlier on the stream, I don't want to see this guy playing left back against anyone. I don't care who it is. We're just playing. I don't want to see this guy playing left back. I want, if he's playing, put him in midfield. Or I was even thinking about this the other day, like with my dad. I said, that guy can find a pass, innit? So maybe at times take Odegaard out and put Zinchenko in Odegaard's position and let him play the passes, because he can find a pass. But yeah, I think Calafiori, I know it's Wolves, but I think, yeah, just throw him in. Obviously, I don't know how fit he is, though. Obviously, if he's not fit, then obviously Zinchenko's the safe option. But yeah.
Going over to you, Jonesy, let me just kind of share what you sent me over in terms of your team, mate. You've gone for Calafiori as well.
Yeah.
At left back. What's your reasonings around it? You put Jesus on the left. You've agreed with Andy about Jesus on the left.
Yeah, no, first of all, Calafiori, a bit like Charlie, just, get him in there. That's what we signed him, to either play there or play centre-back. I don't want to see Zinchenko at left-back as well. I completely agree with him. And, yeah, I've just gone for Jesus on the left, just because he offers that final ball that Martinelli doesn't. Not saying that Martinelli can't or he won't, but I think a strong start is needed on Saturday, put down a benchmark. And I think, personally, in my opinion, that's our strongest 11 if we go with that. But Jesus is, I reckon, this season, he'll come good. Either be it from that left-hand side or he's up top in different games. I think himself, he knows himself. Last season was shocking for him, but with the injuries and stuff like that. And, he's the sort of player, we've seen his mentality at City. He wants to do well. He wants to do better. He's not happy with coming second or, runners up. So I think we'll see a different Jesus this season.
I'm gonna be quite controversial. I'm not meant to be controversial, but this is what I kind of created up. Obviously, if for me, if Timber's fit, I'd start Timber. I think that he did play most of the pre-season in America, and I just think that I want to see him play, and I want to see him in the team. And I must not have done centre backs. Look, it still says credit. Obviously, that is Gabriel and Saliba. Obviously, I've gone for the party, Rice and Odegaard, but I've gone for Trossard. I think everyone's sleeping on Trossard at the moment. Had a really good back end of the season for me, and he has quite a good record in terms of obviously at the Emirates. And I like him when obviously Saka plays on the wing, because I think where the way Saka plays, it offers Trossard to come in inside forward a lot more, and I think he's good for a goal as well. And for me, obviously, Havertz starts up top. But I was really torn. I'm going to be totally honest with Jesus and Trossard. It was a throw of a dice. For me, I would start Martinelli on the bench. I'd impact him in for a few games, try and get the confidence up from there, and then see how he kind of gets on. But yeah, that was my kind of 11. Not sure what your thoughts are around that one, guys.
Yeah,
I agree with your Trossard comments, definitely. Yeah, probably the best finisher we've got at the club at the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the bits I've seen in pre-season, he's in the Euros he looked sharp when he was utilised, and another one that could be just thrown in there is great talent.
Yeah, I think it's a great shout as well, to be fair, guys. To be fair, I don't think anyone here is sleeping on him. It's just, if everyone's fit, I
think we sleep on him every season, though, and it's not just us. I think even the man, I think he always somehow kind of never starts the season, does he? I think he always falls on the short side. I expect it to be the same on Saturday, but I'm being totally honest.
Yeah, I hear that as well, but I think it's more a case of, I think he knows that if everyone's fit, he ain't starting. if we've got a full fit 11 and everyone's like doing their thing, Trossard ain't starting. I don't think. And that's nothing against him. I just think the manager prefers Martinelli. Or, I mean, a few of you have put Jesus on the wing. If me personally, I ain't doing that. I'm putting him central because that's where he was best. But obviously, Havertz deserves his place in the team as well. But then this is the headache that the manager needs. So it's good to have these options.
I think it's an interesting one, isn't it? I think it's a very interesting one in terms of there are options. Do you know what I mean? We are sitting here saying like we're looking at that. We'd love to get a left winger in, but then we're looking. We've named 3 different left wingers to start our season, which I think is quite an interesting one. But then we look on the right hand side and we're like, well, Saka has to start. Do you know what I mean? So that's when I started evaluating all your teams. I was sitting there thinking, do you know what? I think actually us getting a right winger in the club is probably the more wiser option, but it's the harder option in my opinion because whoever comes in is basically playing second fiddle, and I think that's the problem. I'd be interested to get your thoughts on it, Andy, because it's like when we had Robin I always go back to Spain. It's like when we had Robin van Persie at the club. Whoever come in when Robin van Persie was at the club knew they weren't starting games. You weren't getting in front of Van Persie at the time, and it's exactly the same with Saka, which then makes it hard to attract the players in to want to come in at that position.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just that knock-on effect that you can do nothing about. You know, it's like a couple of years ago, there was nobody going to play in front of Harry Kane. You know, you could probably list players in each club that, you know, so that's where you're kind of hoping that with your academies, it looks like we've got some special kids coming through at the moment. It's still not on that right-hand side, I don't think, though. But yeah, that side is a concern. If Saka does get Saka gets a Timber-like injury first game of the season, what's going to happen then? You know, it'll be interesting to see what we do at that point. But yeah, Christ, don't get injured, Ben. Don't get injured, Saka.
No, that is the last thing. I'm gonna go over to you, Jonesy, quickly. Fabio Vieira. I'm not obviously suggesting he should be the right wing option, but he's played a couple of games on the right wing in the summer. He's played obviously in the middle at times for us. What are we expecting this year? Because we need to see something from this guy this year, don't we? Really, we need to see some impact, in my opinion. Or otherwise, I think we're going to need to potentially cut our losses with him.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because he's not getting in over Odegaard, so he whatever chances he gets, be it Carabao Cup, FA Cup third round, could be potentially we do well in the Champions League and we have a few games where we can play a few non-starters, maybe get him in there and try that. But he's just got to make an impact when he comes on.
Yeah.
But it's difficult, isn't it? Because he's not, even if he does well, will he get in over Odegaard? No. Potentially, I don't want to even say it. An injury is the only way I see him getting in that team or even starting. But I don't wish an injury on any of that starting 11 at the moment. But it's difficult. It depends on himself as well. Is he happy to play second fiddle and stuff like that? It's a big season for him as well, to be fair, Fabio Vieira, because let's face it, he hasn't pulled up many trees, has he, since he's been at the club? He's scored a few worldies. He's had a few injuries. He's bulked up a bit over the summer. I've seen that, but it'd be interesting. He's just got to take his chances.
Yeah, fully agreed. And I'm going to go to Ryan. Obviously, we've got such a depth of defensive options. When you look at our fullbacks, a number of them can play across the right back and left back role. But I suppose it's the same old kind of frustrations with Tomiyasu, isn't it? Such a good player and such a reliable player when fit, but the injuries are just counting up now, aren't they?
Yeah, it always seemed to be again. I think it's this time last year as well. It's so frustrating because as you say, he's a great little player. He's torn most of us here, but he's a great player, and he gives us so much when he's available. The versatility he's shown since he arrived. This is a player we send as a right back who the idiot at Sky said, I don't know if he's a right back, a centre back, this, that, the other. But he just wherever you wants to put him, left back against Salah a couple of years back, not last season before the Emirates, completely had him on toast. Like he made it look effortless. He does. And this is as I say, if he was injury free, we would all be sitting there waxing lyrical even more about him. But it's just constant little niggles, and we say little niggles, but it's the longevity of recovery. Then and it's just like, I mean, we've seen other players have the odd niggle, and they're being sold to the other side of London. So how many more injuries is he going to have to suffer? Is this a big make or break for him as well this season? Has he got to prove his fitness to Arteta?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one in terms of obviously himself, because I think the problem he's going to have now is he'll struggle to get back in that team if he continues to get injured, because I think the caliber of players that are there, it's such big competition, isn't it? But I suppose the good thing with Tomiyasu is he offers you that variety, don't he? That he can play right back, he can play left back. He even went centre back, didn't he, for the last 20 minutes of the last game of the season, when Gabriel went off injured. So he's such a good player to have, and I find it quite frustrating because I really wanted him to have a really good pre-season and get some games under his belt. So I think he's a good asset for us. So hopefully he can come back and regain fitness, and then potentially kind of keep that fitness for the remainder of the season. But yeah, no, a very good prospect. And just going back over to you, Ryan, quickly in terms of your kind of team, what would you go for in terms of on Saturday in terms of, I guess, in terms of the left back position and the forward line, really?
Well, you had it up before, but personally, I know it's early on, but I don't want to see Zinchenko. To be honest, I don't want to risk it. I know it's Wolves, but I don't want to risk it, and he gets turned over. I'd start Calafiori, give him 45 minutes, reassess things. If he's doing all right, keep him on. If not, you've got someone like Zinchenko or whoever on the bench to, as the experience said, to come on and fix the issue. Basically, the back, obviously goalkeeper Vaya, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel. I'll go Partey and Rice as the pivot. In his normal role. Martinelli down the left hand side just for the raw pace. His Wolves as well. They've lost their captain in Gilman to West Ham. We've lost Pedro Neto now. They'll be a wounded animal. They're there for the taking, and I think Martinelli, with his raw pace alone down that left hand side, if he can't do it against Wolves when they're at their lowest point at the moment, and they haven't really invested in their squad, from what I can make out this summer, then he's going to have to start fighting for his spot, basically, and that's when Trossard comes along in the second half and things like that. And then I put Havertz up top. I think, again, it's Wolves. I think also his versatility in terms of bringing his teammates into play, his headed ability, I think he'd be perfect for that game up top. He offers us so much more up top. And Saka down on the right-hand side. And I mean, it does mean that we've still got massive firepower coming from the bench in terms of Trossard, in terms of Jesus. But that's what I'd go for.
I think it's a good point about Wolves as well, isn't it? Like, obviously, Kilman's a big loss for me. For them, obviously Pedro Neto, they've had to cope with him quite a lot in the past because, let's be honest, he has had his number of kind of injuries, and I think probably only a club like Chelsea were going to take that risk on him. If I'm being totally honest. But I think this is I really rate Gary O'Neill, but as a manager, I think what he's done both at Bournemouth and Wolves has been absolutely superb in terms of what he's kind of produced. But I do think that this would have been the game he probably wouldn't have wanted the first game of the season with the losses that he's had. And I just think with us at times, I think especially on Saturday, if we go for the kill earlier on, I think we could have this game over in the first 25, 30 minutes. But we need to remember what happened last year with Nottingham Forest. We thought we had the game over in the first 40 minutes, and then we made the game hard for ourselves in the second half. And Forest got back in that game, didn't they, in the last 6-7 minutes, and it became a bit of a hairy finale. So I think it's going to be an interesting one Saturday. I do expect us to comfortably win, but I think we just got to obviously put the game to bed as soon as we possibly can, really. Saturday. Just going over to you, Andy, in terms of kind of Wolves, do you think there will be much competition for us Saturday, or are you quite comfortable that we'll get the job done?
No, I think it's going to be tough. First game of the season, they're always a bit of a wild card. You never know what you're really going to get, but it's a free hit for Wolves. And if you reflecting on last season, there was times when Wolves tore teams apart last year, and they were outstanding. And you quite rightly said Gary O'Neill at Bournemouth and now at Wolves is doing a phenomenal job. So I don't think it'll be as easy as what we hope it'll be. I'd like to think we will win the game comfortably, but they're always a threat. Always a threat, and particularly first game of the season, you always get them little curveball results. You just don't want to be the team that's on the end of it. That's all. Just get the 3 points, even if it's a bit of a crappy game. Let's just get the 3 points in the bag and move on. But yeah, could be tough.
And just looking ahead for the next 4 games after that, it is a tricky start for us, isn't it? Like our 3 away games: Aston Villa, the mob down the road, and Manchester City. Like. You couldn't really ask for 3 harder games, could you, at the start of the season? But if we come out of it in a good light, it could set us up.
Yeah, what a statement you could make. Imagine coming out of all of them games, maximum points.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got any aspirations of going to try and topple City, you've got to. That's what you've got to go into them games and look for now. Draws aren't enough anymore. We've seen that last year. We went to City, played for that draw. It wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Put a statement down.
Yeah, I think this will be the season, won't it? I'm quite glad that we got Man City early doors away from home as well.
Yeah.
Because I think there's that potential where they're not going to be totally firing out, are they? I know Pep Guardiola too well. He plays these kind of. I know he's already come out and started talking about Arsenal. Fully expect it. I think it tries to put a little bit of pressure back on us. But whilst he's doing that, rallying up his troops. But I do think this season's potentially the season that we can go there and beat them. And I think you're right. I think last year, if we had gone there with the mentality of beating them, we could have won the league, couldn't we?
Yeah.
So it's a big game, isn't it? That, and like if we can put that statement to the across to the Premier League early doors, no one's going to want to come play us if we go and beat them there.
Absolutely. If you can go and do Villa comfortably at Villa Park, they're the ones that really believe that they're the ones that are going to muscle in on the big boys now. So if you go and put a statement on them at Villa Park, that kind of puts them in their shell a little bit, and yeah, you move on to the next game then.
Just want to say good evening to Gab. Good luck on Sunday. Chelsea got City 3-3 last season though, so I'm hoping actually Chelsea might nick some points off them Sunday, mate. I said that quite quietly.
Can I also mention, Liam, by the way, before I forget, both
Yeah.
my kids have put a comment on the bottom of the year, and if I don't mention my children today, I'm going to get lynched. So Campbell, who's in Wales with his girlfriend Lauren and her family on holiday, and Kirsten back in Billingham, or maybe in Ingleby Barwick, have both put messages on.
Here we go. I think I put that one up earlier on with Kirsten.
There's my daughter right on cue.
Have I missed Campbell's?
Campbell's my son, and Kirsten, who's just put hi, Dad. She's
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, got
She
you.
must be with a man because she spelt it right. But yeah.
Brilliant. Back over to you, G. Obviously, we're talking about Wolves at the weekend, and we're talking about the next few games. Are you fearful of anyone this season? I'm looking at the transfer window, like you said earlier on, Andy. Like, I know Man United done their business, but I still don't think it's totally what they probably need to be challenging the levels of probably us and Man City. Do you see anyone else, G, kind of muscling in this season, or do you think it's going to be more of a two-horse race again? And what's your thoughts on Liverpool? Because obviously Slot's taken over Klopp. To be fair to him, he's had a good pre-season for Liverpool. But it's a little bit different having a good pre-season to when the Premier League kicks off game after game, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the tricky thing, isn't it? Because obviously Chelsea are Chelsea. They obviously finished very well last season, and if they'd kept Poch, it might have been better. But now they've gone again. They've got a whole new squad again, so God knows what they're going to be up to. But Liverpool, yeah, it's strange because they haven't really signed anyone either. When you think they're probably in a position where they've lost a few players because they've been older and contracts and stuff, and they've not really done a lot. But it's that change, isn't it? That I know Klopp wasn't there for like 20 odd years like Wenger and Fergie, but that he was there a long time and sort of changed the feel of the club, didn't he? So it's going to be interesting to see how that actually plays out when the Premier League starts, because as you say, the pre-season could be whatever it is, but when it gets down to actual business, things do tend to change, don't they? So yeah, it's one of those where, like, last season I was probably fearful of the top four, as you would say, but now over the season that's passed and everything that we've been ticking off, like the wins away to certain teams and how we've played and how we've grown as a team, I kind of just go into it just like, aren't we the big ones? People are fearing us now. We're not. We don't need to fear these lot anymore, do we? Which is a nice position to be in, and I don't want that to change, obviously, and when it kicks in. But I think of course we want to win every single game, but I think the statement to just go out on the first day, get the job done nice and early, will get people talking, won't they? And the fortress that is becoming at the Emirates as well, getting it all out there. But yeah, it's one of those, like, we can't fear anyone anymore. In my eyes, like that part of Arsenal is gone. So,
No,
yeah.
I think you're totally right. Just a quick one, Andy. I think your sister's on there as well, mate. I said hi from Andy's sister as well.
That's Katie Mock. Yeah.
Just thought better let you know that. I look at it, G, in terms of kind of, like you said, regarding Arsenal at home, and I do think now we're kind of building that into a kind of fortress. I'd always sit there and say with the Aston Villa game last season, I just think we got caught in a bad situation with the Champions League, which was kind of sandwiched right in the middle of it. I don't think it was. I think we took our eye off the ball that day more than Aston Villa come to us and beat us, because that first half we could have been 2-3-0 up, if I'm being totally honest.
It should have been over. Yeah,
Aston Villa stuck in the game, didn't they? And we just lost any idea how to beat them, but by the end of it. So I do think it is becoming a fortress. But what I do agree with is what kind of Andy said earlier on. I think we don't fear anyone early on, but we've got to believe we can go to Liverpool, Man City, and actually win games.
Yeah.
And that's where I don't think we do at times. I felt when we go both Liverpool and Man City at the moment, and that might be me being a little bit too critical, because let's be honest, Man City don't even go to Liverpool and win games. But if we can go to Man City and Liverpool and put statement out and win games, I think that would be the killer part in terms of us being that team that will be the dominant force. And I just think that's the slight bit of mentality we need to change. And I think that will come when we get the right player, probably up front, if I'm being totally honest. And like I think you said earlier on, Charlie, we need that player. We need that player that we know that can score 25 goals a season. We need that player that when we do go away to Man City or Liverpool, we know if he gets one chance, he scores one goal. Do you know what I mean? We had that when we had Thierry Henry, the Ian Wrights of this world. Do you know what I mean? The Robin van Persies. We knew that if them players had that chance, they'll score the goals. And I just think once we get that player, I think it'll give the team the confidence that they can go to these grounds and win. So I'm going to go to you on that one, Charlie, because I know we've kind of spoke about a striker. Do you kind of agree with that? Do you think that's the missing tool at the moment, to go to these grounds like the Etihad and Anfield to win?
Yeah, 100%. Like we were discussing earlier about like the transfers and all that, I said I'm pretty relaxed about it. But obviously, if there was anywhere, it would be like an out-and-out number 9, not someone that's going to link up play. We need someone that's prolific in front of goal, that will bag. Like, even if we're struggling in a game, we just clip a ball over the top, we turn someone's defence around and he scores, just to get us out of jail, sort of thing. But with the games thing, like, I mean, I'm only looking at Manchester City. Like, every weekend, I'm just going to be looking at Manchester City's results and hate watching them. That's all I'm going to be doing. Like, because with Liverpool, I don't think they're going to be anywhere near as good. I still think they'll finish third because they're better than everyone else. But I don't think they're going to be anywhere near as good because they're under transition. And like G said, they haven't signed anyone. I mean, yeah, they haven't signed anyone, and I think they're losing a few players. And even Man City themselves, like, they've let Alvarez go and they haven't replaced him. And I know it broke earlier about Oscar Bob breaking his leg and all that, but that's obviously no one wants to hear that. And I think he's really good, but like, now's our time to strike. I think like the league is there. Like, all the other teams are like proper dead. Like you said, the Manchester United business is like crap. De Ligt is Bayern Munich's third choice centre half. That Mazraoui was wanted by West Ham. No one else wanted him, so that's why he signed for United. Xerxes didn't even play for the Netherlands. And obviously that other centre-back they signed got injured in pre-season against us. So, like I said, I think we've only got to worry about Manchester City. And the start of the season, I think as long as we get to Spurs with a reasonable goal difference, because for me, goal difference is massive, as we saw last season. Goal difference is absolutely massive. If we get to Spurs, which is the fourth game of the season, with a reasonable goal difference and 9 points, then, yeah, I think we're good. I think we're cooking. But, yeah, there's still a bit of a way to go in the transfer window, so we'll see what happens.
Cool. Just another update for you, and Andy. Izzy's watching too.
The dog. There you are.
I bet he's loving it, mate. I bet he's loving it. Yeah, like I just going back to that, Charlie. I like mentioning the Alvarez situation. That's another thing. Anything happens to Haaland now, you start looking at that team, don't you? You start thinking, well, actually, who are they going to put up front? Because yet again, if you go to Manchester City, you know you're sitting behind Haaland, so it's not going to be easy for them to kind of sign someone, is it? In terms of that kind of capability with the experience of the kind of Premier League. So, like, they lose Haaland for a substantial amount of time. That's going to kind of hold them back a little bit, isn't it? In terms of the kind of way they play, but also potentially in games where they rely on Haaland. Because I think with Haaland at times, I don't want to call him a flat track bully because I think he's a lot more than that, but I think he can totally bully the smaller teams. You know what I mean? Like we see it last year but then you see the likes of Gabriel and Saliba actually mark him out of games quite comfortably at times as well. So I think if they lose him for a substantial amount of time, I think how that hit them the most is in terms of that goal difference, as you said, because I think against the smaller teams, he can just rally 3-4 goals in just like that, can't he?
Yeah, exactly. That's like you said with the Haaland thing, like against the dead teams in the league. I think Ipswich go there the second game of the season, so we're going to be playing catch up on goal difference already after 2 weeks because they're going to slap them about 6-7-0, I reckon. And that's probably not even a joke either because Ipswich don't play defensive-minded football, and I reckon they're going to be like Burnley and they're going to try and play this expansive football and get bopped off the park by better teams. But yeah, Haaland will win the Golden Boot naturally if he even if he doesn't stay fit for like a month or two, he'll still score more than everyone else because City just create so many chances, and like you say, he's very prolific against the dead teams in the league. So
yeah, definitely. Over to you, Jonesy, in terms of kind of this season in a whole. I know we've spoken about the likes of Liverpool, Chelsea, kind of Manchester United. Do you see any threats from Aston Villa this year? Because they were really good last year. Newcastle, do you think they'll come back into the mix a little bit this season?
I don't know. No, I don't think Newcastle. I mean, they went out of Champions League football early, didn't they, last season? And they were still weren't doing great. They had a better half to the season. I think Aston Villa will be the ones to watch. And no Champions League football for them is going to be big. Emery as well. You know, he's experienced in the Champions League. But it just depends how much they put into that Champions League because then, you know, they got to be careful of their top 4 position. You got to say Spurs are around, don't they? Just because you got to, as much as they are shit. But I can't see anybody else. I'm a bit like Charlie. I'm only looking out for City. I can't give a shit about the rest of the teams. The City are the ones that we need to be better than. And if we can do that, we're winning this league.
And get over to you, Ryan. Are you dismissing Liverpool?
Yeah, totally. It's not just because they didn't sign no one. It's the average age of that squad now. They've got most of their senior players in their 30s, going into now in the last year of their contracts, and you've got the Van Dijk coming out the other day saying that we're worried. Even I'm personally worried because they didn't sign no one. He even came out after Klopp announced he was leaving. I might be here, I might not be here. I don't know what the future holds. Is already putting feelers out they don't want to stay. We know the most other thing in terms of deep down he doesn't want to be there. He wants to go in his last big contract before he retires. Was it the one player that caused us problems in pre-season against Liverpool was Fabio Carvalho. They've gone and sold him to Brentford.
They sold him, yeah.
That's like you can't make, and then you got one of the Rodri and all that aside, outside the Premier League, one of the best CDMs in the world, and he's saying, no, I don't want to be part. Whatever they've said to him, he doesn't want to be a part of it. He'd rather stay at Real Sociedad. And the only player that looks like they're going to sign is the Georgian goalkeeper. They haven't done. My point is, they haven't done enough to strengthen. They fell short last year under Klopp. Match day 30, around about that sort of time, they started falling apart with the squad that we're now about to go into this season with. They haven't really they haven't strengthened enough or at all to go on and try again and go that step further. Whereas I know we've only signed one player, and so City, but then City have sold Alvarez and all that. We are leaps. We showed it back into that season, both of us, that we are leaps and bounds ahead of Liverpool or that squad. So for them not to just bring Arnie in and go, we'll try, but if not, this is what you've got to have to work with. It's not good enough. It's going to be as Charlie says and all. It's going to be a 2-horse race straight from the off. Us and City, week in, week out. Liverpool eventually will be the best. Liverpool will be the best of the rest in third.
Yep.
But yeah, it'll be from between first, second will be, I'd say, a point or two in it, give or take, whatever. But from that side of things, from third onwards, I think you'll be looking around 15, 20 points gap. It's going to be that, the gulf in the levels is that much. And, I mean, but you mean third and fourth, for not like the third and fourth place, I'm saying Liverpool will finish up because they are the best of the bad bunch. It's not guaranteed. I mean, you've got Villa going to be up for it because they're going to get a taste of Champions League football and they want to go again. You've got Newcastle want to right the wrongs of last season. They're going to have Tonali back at the end of the month as well. That's been announced today. You've got Spurs. Spurs won't get top four, by the way. They'll be there in and around it, but they won't get it. You've got Man United have gone out heavy in this transfer window out of all the clubs. I think they will get fourth by the skin of their teeth because of how much investment they put into this squad, one way or the other, even if Ten Hag's not there by the end of May. But, yeah, my main focus, like Charlie said and all that, City. Don't see anyone else causing us, in terms of the title race, challenging for it, a problem. I think it's just us, City, week in, week out until one of us flops it, basically. Come May.
Sorry, guys, just had the cat. Do you mind? Actually, do you mind? Come on.
Mate, the hate watching is going to be fun.
I think the Manchester United one, what we're talking about, I think that's a really interesting situation. Like, they brought Ruud van Nistelrooy in, who was a manager, by the way, in Holland. If I was Ten Hag, I don't know if I'd be comfortable with that situation. No. I know they're both Dutch, but we know with the Dutch they can't trust each other at the best of times. They turn on each other just like that anyway. But I just see Van Nistelrooy taking over that at some point. If I'm being totally honest,
yeah, I think he's been brought in along with the other guy that got brought in as well. I think they've both been brought in with the mindset from the owner side of things of we don't really want Ten Hag here, but because he's won an FA Cup, we're going to back him. It won't work. We will then sack him before Christmas when he looks a bit out of sorts. We'll sack Ten Hag, but we've got the setup ready to promote Van Nistelrooy, a legend of Ruud, as the main man alongside an experienced head alongside him.
Yeah, I can't see, like Gab said, Ruud wants a job, in my opinion. He'll 100% take that job. And I think, I just think with Manchester United, like what I see the other day is basically what they were like last season, conceding another late goal, 89th minute goal. How many goals did they concede at the back end of games last season? Like, it pretty much hasn't changed. Like, even when you look at the friendly game with us, what did we score in the 83rd minute, Martinelli? I know it's only pre-season, but it's the same things that are on the wall with them. And I think, yeah, they've gone and bought the players, they've gone and bought the Lich, but I don't think there's no difference when they bought the Lich than when they bought Varane.
No.
You know what I mean? Into the club. Like, I'm not seeing anything different in terms of the way they're kind of managing the club as such. And I'm quite interested to see how that goes over the first few months, because I think they're the team that's probably under the most pressure in the whole Premier League in terms of they're expected to do better this season. Like, I think there is pressure. I think there is quite a substantial amount of pressure with Arteta, probably from within our own fan base, with a certain minority that we need to go a step further this year. Whether we do or not is another question. But I think he's under a lot of pressure. I think he's definitely under a lot of pressure, Ten Hag. And Gav saying Southgate in by February. Just like, nothing would surprise me with the Manchester United this season.
Yes, please.
Yeah, get Gareth Southgate in. I'll be all over that, because that'd be another
just
2-3 years that they'd be derailed, basically.
But don't write them off either. I watched them in the FA Cup final against City, and they were outstanding. If he starts stringing performances like that together, and he's improved his squad with, yes, I appreciate maybe that these aren't the household names that they would normally get in, but they've improved their squad on last season. So believe you me, Man United will have they'll have a big say in what goes on with some of the big games against the bigger teams. I'm not saying they're going to go and challenge for the top 2, top 3, but they'll have a big say in big matches against them teams.
Do you not worry though that they can't get the players out? Like they're in a certain situation that Arsenal were in a few years ago. Like I like when I look back to the situation with the Ozil clique within the club. There's quite a lot of players there that are still sitting there, isn't there? Is that going to derail them a little bit in the background?
Maybe. But that's a Ten Hag issue to deal with. But as I say, I mean, I just wouldn't disregard Manchester United. I just think that performance against City will have given them a massive shot in the arm, because they'll know now that on their day they can go toe to toe with anybody. The problem is stringing them performances together, because they're so up and down.
I think a lot of that was though City was shit. I think City was shit on the day.
Is that because Man United played well?
Well, I don't know, because City were really good for 15 league games in a row, wouldn't drop a single point, and then all of a sudden the FA Cup final they played like absolute rubbish. Yeah,
I've not seen many teams do that to City, and Man United played really well. But by the way, I can't stand Man United. It's not me bigging them up. I can't stand them. But don't write them off. They'll have a big say.
I do think this is the problem with Man United, though. I do agree with what you're saying. I do think they've got the capability. Of course, they've got the capability. You look at Rashford, we spoke about in the back end of last season. Like, I think if you got Rashford playing like on form and in a game and playing like the way he can do, he's an absolute man. In that FA Cup final, I watched it. He was ripping them to pieces down that side. I've got no, in my opinion, I just don't think half them players can remain consistent. I think they can do it in one-off games, 100%. I think they can beat Man. I think they're one of the only teams that can beat Man City. Like, I think they're one of the only teams that can give Man City a game in the whole league. Whether they can do it over 38 games, I think that's a big question mark. I don't think that's all on Ten Hag either. I just think that's what's happened in the club over the last 5 years. But the one thing that I get frustrated with Ten Hag is, and I know I'll go back to the Arsenal game, but he's still moaning about what happened at Arsenal time later. And I'm like, mate, if you're a manager, you just got to forget it, haven't you? You got to forget what's happened in that game and then move on to the next game. And when you're talking about stuff 4, 5, 6 months later, I just don't think that helps the players whatsoever.
Does anyone reckon they get top 4?
Yeah, I do. I think they get top 4.
Yeah, they get 4th by the skin of their teeth. Yeah,
they'll get it by being a bit jammy.
Yeah,
like
you all reckon
they won't be great, but they'll make it. They'll still make it.
I think they're thinking top 4.
So where are Spurs finishing then?
Not in top 4.
8th.
No, see, I think Man United are below Spurs definitely.
No,
I agree.
It's going to be interesting with big Ants now. Obviously, last season he had no European football. He had playing his style. Now he's implementing his style even more with new players, and he's got European football Thursday, Sunday, and it's a new format again in the Europa League. Got to talk about Champions League. I think it's going to have a big effect on their results when it comes to the league as well.
That's the same as Spurs though. They're in the same as United. They're in the same competition, so they'll both be doing the same thing.
But United, I think United in terms of it, I think it's just United in general, because of just how much again. United have been more busy. They've actually bulked their squad out, and they've actually we'll see, but they've got European. They've brought in European players as well that are used to playing just that sort of scheduling and all that. Well, Solanke hasn't done that before. This will be new for Solanke in terms of the Thursday, Sunday at Europe and all that. They haven't, again, apart from Solanke, who else have they brought in this summer? I can't remember. Let's be honest.
They spent a fair bit of money, Spurs.
Yeah, a couple of young kids, didn't they?
Eddie, what's that? They're from
That
Leeds.
Archie Gray. And all
Archie
that.
Gray, that's it. Archie, not Eddie. Archie Gray.
See, this is mad, yeah. This is mad. See, I've actually got United sixth. I put my predictions in the group earlier. I've put United sixth. I actually think United finished below Chelsea, bro. I think Chelsea are going to do a madness.
Nah, I'm not. Nah.
No.
Yeah, I think they're going to do a madness, mate.
You're doing a madness. I'm not sure about
Probably, in my opinion, it's going to be Arsenal. I'm obviously going for Arsenal being biased here. Arsenal, City, Liverpool, United, and then we're going for 5th and 6th.
I'll go Spurs 5th, Villa 6th.
I'll go the other way round there. I think United. I think Newcastle then get the Conference League, and I think Chelsea finish outside the European spots. Because again, we're seeing the pre-season. There's no cohesiveness. Again, you've got the manager already complaining. Oh, this is all Poch's fault. My defence is crap because of Poch. No, the excuse is beyond belief. You've literally extended Cole Palmer's contract so he's there for another 9 years. That poor bastard. And what did I say? 16. They've got 16 goalkeepers on their books. Chelsea 16. They've got to pick a number one out of 16 goalkeepers. It's a complete crap show. To be PC here, complete crap show. It makes our bad era look good. That's saying something.
I think.
What about No, go on, bro.
No, I was just going to say, like with the Man United debate, I think if they can keep the striker fit and up for a season, I think he's a massive threat. I think I know he was only playing against our youngsters, but that first 15 minutes he terrorised us in that friendly. I think if they can keep him fit and get him playing and get playing to his strengths, I think he offers them something. I think he's going to be a big player, a big player. I like him. I really do like him. What I see.
I think Chelsea, in terms of how their season goes, is going to be how they navigate Sunday. If they can get a result on Sunday, one way it'll be a draw or even a shock win. That might actually give them the confidence, maybe, then to sort of go, okay, here we go. We want to push on now. If they get battered, like most of us probably expect, that could set things back, especially in that fan base being as hostile as it is for the last 2 years.
We've got to remember though, Chelsea have got good players, haven't they? It's not like they haven't got good players there, because they have got good players. They have got good. They spent a lot of money. Now I know it's a joke because obviously the way they're spending the money and obviously the way Todd Bowley is running the club, but they can string performances together. Chelsea. This is a Chelsea team last year that took a point off Man City at home and took a point off Man City at the Etihad. But it's also the same Man City team, that Chelsea team that come to us and got absolutely destroyed off the park. Do you know what I mean? So it's very much like in terms of how we get them playing. Like I do expect them to lose Sunday, probably 2. I do expect them to lose if I'm being totally. I think they're in a totally different level to what Man City are, but I don't see Chelsea getting top 4. I don't see them getting top 4. I think that they need to try and get probably.
Six. 6, I think he was going to say. He's still thinking about it.
Is he doing that on purpose?
Yeah, he's just thinking. That's what he's like when he's trying to get a drink at the bar.
What to have today?
Yeah, I'll put them 5th, to be fair. So,
yeah, I had them 6.
Also, I think another factor is Enzo. Obviously, he's only had that Championship last year. Even Leicester fans weren't enamoured by him in the second half of the season. This is his first season in Premier League football. This is different to Championship, so I think it's going to be adapted as well for him.
They've got potentially Osherman coming in as well, haven't they? So,
well, that's what we've been rammed down our throats. But
you think?
That's what we're supposed to be like a deal with Lukaku and stuff like that.
They're meant to be getting Gal Felix, but that's about apparently half their
I
ball.
think they're
This
gonna
is
do a
another thing.
madness.
They're
Why
going
on
after.
earth does he want to go back there?
This is the
Nothing
thing as
happened
well.
for him. He
Today,
got like 2 red cards, didn't he? In like a couple of games.
on his debut, 4 goals. That was it, and he was back home. No, it's like I mean today, half the Chelsea board don't even want him, that Yao Felix, back at the club. So again, they don't. It's not that collective cohesiveness of we're all singing off the same hymn sheet. There's so much divide in the back room as well. Again, it's just like I'm saying, it made our bad era at the back end of Wenger's time look. It makes this making that time look good.
And as well with Conor Gallagher, the guy who was
I mean,
basically their captain last year, tried to ship him out, and now he's back there.
It's like, if we can't have one of your players, you can't have him. Okay.
So what about have you lot got Villa finishing high then? Because I haven't. I think Villa are going to struggle because of the Champions League.
No, I've got them in Europa League spots.
See, I've got them
about
8th.
8th, yeah.
I've got them 8th. I think Newcastle finish above Villa because they got no European football.
Well, it's one of my next questions I was going to go to you guys on is the Champions League. I was going to.
Oh God, he's back.
Pardon?
Nothing.
Well, I was going to say about the Champions League in terms of. I think Aston Villa will do well. I think Emre's experienced, and now I think his tactical play in Europe second to none. I know obviously a lot of it is in the Europa Cup, but he'll know how to kind of approach that. For us this season, what I'm going to go to you first, Andy. What do we need to do this season in the Champions League? Got quarterfinals last year. I think we was probably tactically beaten in the end by Bayern Munich, and we've probably shown our experience at key moments in them 2 ties. But do you think we can go further this year? Maybe a semi-final or a final?
Yeah, without doubt. I think my biggest frustration last year, Champions League-wise, was that for the most part, we didn't really show. The team that plays week in, week out and tears the Premier League apart never showed up in the Champions League. Bayern Munich were there for the taking. I don't care what anybody says. They were there for the taking. If we believed that we could go there, we can just go there and turn them over, I think we would have easily. Honestly, we didn't play that well and they only snuck past us. And I just think that with a bit more belief, a few key players staying fit at the right times, why can't we? Why can't we go all the way? You know, you beat Bayern Munich, you know, ultimately then you're up against, it's a lottery at that point. But yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. But I think I just want more belief. I want us to go and express ourselves in Europe. I want people to watch us and go, geez, what are they doing over there? Because we seem to play within ourselves in Europe. Churned out results, which was brilliant, you know, and finding a way to win is outstanding. But some of the football that we played in Europe was nothing like what we did on a weekly basis in the Premier League. So carrying the form into out there and not being frightened of anybody, impose ourselves on games, just go and batter teams.
This is where I just think this is where the forward comes into play as well. At times, I think it just gives the other players confidence as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just look at like strikers we've had in the past, and like I just think when you've got certain people up front that you know that will kill a game just like that, it just breeds confidence through the whole team. I think if we can do some kind of business for the end of the window, like you said, I don't think it's just going to have the effect in the Premier League. I think the Champions League as well. And I just don't. When we went to Bayern Munich away, I just don't think we believed we could go and win there.
No, that's what it felt like. I'm sure the effort was there from the players. They put their all into that match, but it just felt like we went there not really expecting to get a result, hoping that we play well, hope we do well in Munich, instead of just going there and going, no, we're going to go and turn these over.
Yeah, and I think this is where I say the same thing about Man City and Liverpool. This is the next step now, isn't it, for us? Yeah. It's a step going to the Etihad, going to the Anfields, going to the Allianz Arena. Like, do you know what I mean? The Bernabeu. I know the Bernabeu is going to be the hardest one to go and turn up to. Now they've got bloody Mbappe there as well. But it's about us being able to go there, isn't it, and express ourselves and show what we're the real deal. We know we're so close to it because we know we can beat Man City. We know we can beat Liverpool. We've been the two of the best teams in Europe over the last 4 to 5 seasons. So it's just, I think we're so frustratingly close now. It's just that last bit of jigsaw for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as well, that quite a lot of our squad had no experience of being at Champions League level as well. I think that played a part. So now we've got a whole campaign under their belts. Hopefully, then that gives they've learned a lot from that in the first season. I know things are going to change quite a lot this season, and I'm not quite sure how it's going to all work. I don't really understand it all yet. But I think just now that they've had that season to understand what that level is like, different stadiums at the highest level, that can only be beneficial as well for going into this one.
Yeah, I think you're bang on there, Jay. I think that's an absolute superb point. It was just rolled me back, Andy, to the 90s. I just remember, Joe, you will remember it, obviously. Do you remember when because obviously there was a ban, weren't there? Obviously, no one was down in Europe, weren't they? Because obviously what happened. But I remember when we first went back in Europe, didn't we? We did all right, didn't we, in the first couple of games? But then we got absolutely battered. But was it Benfica?
Was it? Yeah, you
Benfica.
you could be right,
but then it kind that they kind of took that learning, and I know it went to the Champions League at the time. They went into the Cup Winners' Cup, and season 2 later, a bit of confidence, but a couple of years or a year under in Europe, and then they were a totally different team, and they went on and won it. But I do think that the experience was a big piece, G, with last year as well. I always said, like when we was in the Europa League, we never played our first team or our first 11 whatsoever at any point, or potentially maybe in the last game, but we were still always trying to rotate at the time because it was never the major priority. But I think with the Champions League last year was probably the first year in many, many years at Arsenal where we've actually put out our strongest 11 each time. And I think these guys will gain a lot of experience for it. And I think we'll probably see that this year. And hopefully they'll be more confident in terms of going into games, and especially the away games, and putting in some performances. Like there was a superb one last year. Was it Seville away? We was really good. Was it Seville?
Yeah, Seville away,
yeah.
We were superb there. So we have got the capability of doing it. And let's be honest, Seville weren't no mugs at the end of the time.
Yeah.
They just won the Europa Cup. So they got good pedigree, as we know. So we have got the ability to do it. It's just now going out there and using that experience and being able to do that week in, week out in the Champions League. Just going to go to you guys quickly on that. So, Charlie, what are you expecting this week this year in the Champions League with Arsenal? Where would you like to, obviously you want to see us win it, but what would be a reasonable account for a season?
Well, like you said when you first started talking about it, I think progress is the key. So draw depending as well. If we reach the semi-finals and get knocked out by like a Real Madrid or a Man City themselves, then I'd be content with that as long as we didn't get absolutely battered over 2 legs. But if we got knocked out by, I don't know, like
the Bayern,
a Villarreal or someone like anonymous, like that sort of thing, then yeah, I wouldn't be too happy. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it, and obviously you got Real Madrid and Man City, and then after that, it's probably your Bayern Munich's, even Liverpool. Like Liverpool on a Champions League night, you don't want to be going to Anfield on a Champions League night.
No.
So I'd say them 4 teams, because even PSG, I'd fancy us against PSG over 2 legs, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Barcelona over 2 legs, definitely. Even Bayern Munich. I mean, we owe them now as well. So
we owe them for a lot of games.
Yeah, but I mean, when they were slapping us in the past, let's be real. Other than Ozil and Sanchez, who did we have?
Yeah.
Like
Spina.
Well, the thing is, like we got the defence now, haven't we? I think that's the big main thing, that we know we can go. We know our 2 centre backs will mark the best players out of the game if they need to, and I think that breeds a lot of confidence in terms of what we produce. Like, I don't think Harry Kane scored against us last year, did he? Did he not? Did he?
He scored the pen, didn't he?
Oh yeah, of course he did. Yeah, and that was going to happen, weren't it? It was one of the things that was definitely going to happen. But in open play, he didn't, did he? And like you look at it last year, Haaland didn't get no change out of him. So we're pretty much sorted in that department, I think. And Timber and Calafiori is just going to offer us even more strength in terms of that. Mourinho coming in is going to give us a lot more nous, I think, in Europe as well. I think his experience could be good. I think we're utilising quite a lot in Europe. And Declan Rice's first year in the Champions League last year as well. Do you know what I mean? Like he's playing at the top level now. So I think that'd be a good learning curve for progress for him as well. So I think that a lot of learnings from last year. Jonesy, what you and Ford agree at least a semi-final, dependent on a draw, obviously that you do avoid like a Man City or Real Madrid before that.
Yeah, no, semi-finals would be good. Another final would be good. Right the wrongs of that one. But yeah, wouldn't it be great, see Arsenal Barcelona final, just to get that little bit of revenge, a rematch.
That's a dream, mate. That's a dream.
That is the dream for me.
And yourself, Ryan?
It's a semis, but the bare minimum semis, yeah. No if buts or maybes. I mean, the only ones that as you say, I think Charlie mentioned, City and Real Madrid. The others are all beatable. On our day, as long as we turn up, one-off games or two legs, we can put one on the others. So yeah, semis is the bare minimum. Depending on the side of the draw, on what side of the semi-final draw we fall on. If we fall on the other side away from City and Madrid, then you're looking for a final. But realistic, let's get there. Let's see what we can do first.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, it's a brand new format, isn't it? Champions League this year, so there will be 8 games running up before the end of the league table. League table spaces. I'm not going to get right into the in-depth of it because it was kind of confusing me when I was going through it the other day. But it will be kind of interesting to see how that kind of rolls out. Before I've got one last thing I'm going to do right at the end of the show, but I know you obviously, G, you wanted to have a quick brief look at obviously the ladies team. I'll just get up obviously the tour because there's a tour going on soon, isn't there? Is it America? Am I right in saying?
Yes. Yeah, they're
it's
literally
Sunday
in the air as we speak. It's a tricky one because they finished obviously their season the day before the men's did. However, with the Olympics and stuff, it's been a long summer and there's still 5 weeks to go till the WSL actually kicks off. But yeah, as you see, this came up earlier. Quite a big squad going out there. To be fair, we've got 2 games out there, which one is on Sunday against Washington Spirit. And then Chelsea the following Sunday, which will be very interesting, I think. A good one to get in before the season starts to see how Chelsea are going, because we all know what's going on there.
Yeah.
But I'll come to you first, Ryan. Within that squad, all 3 of our new signings are actually included. How happy were you to see that? Because considering, obviously, Caldente has just come back from the Olympics as well, I thought she might have got a bit of time off. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I thought that as well. But also in terms of Rosa, she's literally just signed it, like officially signed for us, and it's last 48 hours or so.
Yeah.
Like, I thought they might leave her behind or bring her out a bit later, but no, she's there. I'm happy on it. DVD got Daphne. She's going to be there as well. She's going to hopefully get some minutes, hopefully ahead of Manu. I do think Manu will be taken though, because obviously over the summer, her and her partner become parents. Obviously, a child's there and all that. I thought maybe to get a bit more time off and all that, but hey. But yeah, as you say, it's a looking strong squad they've taken out, and Caitlin Ford.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Jonesy as well, just looking at that squad, also another name just returning from a gold medal at the Olympics, Emily Fox. Obviously it is in America, so obviously they all went home to celebrate it, so understandable, but still a shock to see her thrown straight back in, or are you pleased that she's in there as well?
Yeah, no, I'm pleased to see her get back in there, have a good pre-season, because we've got the Champions League against the old Scots Rangers coming up. But I just want to say as well, to see Lena Hurtig in the squad as well, it's great to see her back, because
we found her.
We found her. Yeah, she went missing. But yeah, no, I know she had some issues and that going on, but it's great to see her well, be it mentally or physically, whatever's going on, and backing around the squad. It's great to see her back there. But yeah, I'm happy with that team going out there. You want your team that you want starting that first game in the season or that first Champions League game to be ready, and he's taking them out there to be ready.
Yeah, exactly. Liam as well, just thinking of what Jonesy said there about obviously pretty much the whole squad. A few of the younger girls have come in, obviously new signings, returnees, but also the main structure of the team going forward as well. Obviously this is really, I think they did play like a game or two out in Australia for some weird reason after the season had finished, but they have all been on quite a long break since then. So how important do you think it is while we're building up to have all those players ready to go at this stage as well?
Yeah, I think we said last season, didn't we, that with last season, obviously a lot of these girls were injured, and a lot of them didn't come back till probably Christmas time. After Christmas, obviously, I thought Leah Williamson was obviously a massive miss for us. Beth Mead made a return, but they didn't have a pre-season behind them. And when you don't have a pre-season behind you, and probably Andy will say this, you're chasing the game.
Yeah, it's awful. It's awful.
And they ain't got to do that this year. Do you know what I mean? And I think this is the first season in a couple of seasons that he can go away with the girls. He can obviously embed what style of football he wants. He's made the signings now, so we'll see how they get along. But I think it's really key that your Beth Meads, your Williamsons of this world, that they're fit and they're ready to go. And I think that we should this season be competing for the title. We don't know what to expect with Chelsea yet, because obviously under new management and structure. Yet again, Emily Fox, as you said, has got to come back from another success, which just breeds good vibes, don't it? And I know the girls are well happy for her, but yeah, I just think that this season's the season. I think it's a big season for the manager, and I think this season he will be judged, if I'm being totally honest, because
I think he needs to be now.
He does.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think, Andy.
Yeah, towards the end of the season, I got so frustrated watching the women play, just because they almost played with a handbrake on half the time, and it, they were just kind of they ended up dropping points against in games that they would normally just go and clean up. And I just my big concern was like this is filtering down from the top, and I don't know. It almost felt to me like the players weren't really playing for him. I think there seems to be a lot of rumblings in the background, with Viv leaving and moving on now, which is a massive shame. And I don't know. I'm surprised that he's actually kept his job. I'll be honest, because I thought they were so poor towards the end of the last season. And yeah, but we'll see. I guess he's going to have to be under pressure now because he's made his signings. Some guys have left, so yeah, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, and Charlie, just coming to you finally, just to talk about obviously Daphne Van Dumselaar. We signed her from Villa. She only signed for them last year, which is obviously amazing. So we've got someone in like that. But we've obviously talked quite a lot about Mary Earps. Unfortunately, she ended up going to PSG. But I think this is a good second option. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I made it quite obvious that I don't want Zinsberger in goal, bro. Just get Zinsberger out of goal. And yeah, the fact that we've signed her, sort of like what we've done with Calafiori. He only signed for Bologna literally the season before, and now we've signed him. Similar to her, I hope she. To be fair, I hope she comes in, takes the place, and just gets off to a flyer. But I would say we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
Exactly. But this is the point, isn't it? This time of year, it's getting those players in. It's giving her hopefully some first minutes so we can see what she's like. To be fair, last year from watching her and in the Euros before, because obviously she took the #1 jersey for the Netherlands as well. She looked brilliant. So as much as we maybe wanted someone else, I think this is a very good signing for us, and hopefully it might give Zinsberger something to worry about. As much as I loved Sabrina D'Angelo, I don't think she was going to push her as much. Yeah, as much. But yeah, I mean, that's what you need with goalkeeper, isn't it? You need a decent backup to take them all the way. And if she does take the gloves, I can see it remaining that way over Zinsberger in the future. Ryan, just your thoughts on that as well? Any different opinions or any other outgoings that you were pretty gutted to see go?
Chloe yesterday, I wasn't expecting. I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting that to happen. I thought obviously Rosa coming. I said in the group chat, and that's Rosa. I was like, we're really bulking our attack out again. We've lost Riven and all that, but we're compensating down the summer. Like we're really going for it in terms of our signings, what we signed, bought in and all that, and from the attacking sense. And then we go, bye, Chloe, off to America. It's a bit like, okay, what did she do wrong? Because I think she had for her first season and to come in from obviously the Portuguese league to come here at a club like Arsenal, and she did hit the ground running, as far as I'm concerned. Scored one of the goals of the season against United on match day 2. Put a shift in. It was always reliable. Never injured from what I can remember last season. If she was, it was little niggles once in a blue moon. If that was the case, but it was always there. And she always put a shift in, be it starting or as a sub. And again, for me, it calls into question Jonas. Has he got his favours? Is he protecting certain favourites in his squad? But with Daphne, I mean, like you just mentioned there, yeah, we was all talk about Mary Earps and all that because it looked like it was going that way, one way or the other. But I mean, for a backup option, not a bad one, and longevity as well. If it works out with her, we've got longevity. It was what 22, 24, about that sort of age. So there's a longevity in her career, and then we haven't got to be like 2 years' time. Okay, Mary's retired now. Let's go and get Daphne now. We've got her now, and we just kick on and fight. I don't think she'll start match day 1. I think Jonas will be Jonas, and he will put Zinsberger in goal against City for the experience.
Yeah.
Just to get dunked on by Miedemar.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
You know it's happening. It's set up as soon as he officially signed for City. I knew when the fixtures were coming out. I knew we were playing City match day 1. I knew it.
I said to you, G, didn't I, that she'd sign for City?
Yeah.
I knew she'd sign for City, bro. As soon as we didn't give her a new contract, I said to G that she'd sign for City.
Yeah.
It's outrageous.
It's going to be interesting in the Vivian Mead household this season. That's all I'm going to say.
I think they've got a bet in, Dave.
Yep.
I think they've got like a little household bet about who finishes higher and who wins. You got to watch out for them. I think they're the ones to beat.
Yeah.
I think Man City are the ones. I think Man City, because they threw the league away last season when we beat them 2-1.
Yeah.
I almost wanted us. You know, it's mad. Yeah, I was almost like, God, we'll take the draw, and then that means Chelsea don't win the league, and then we beat them and cost them the league.
No, literally, I did a watch long, Charlie, and I'm here, and I'm like, yay, but it's like, yay, we won, but Emma Hayes, Chelsea, what are we doing?
Yeah. Like.
Well, at least we don't have to worry about her this season, but I think it will be interesting. So they obviously have a pretty good manager that's come in from Lyon. Lyon obviously notorious for being the best French team around, and they've won the Champions League quite a lot of times. Most of the best players have been there as well. Liam, what do you see with Chelsea this year? Do you think this is? Well, I think we spoke about it a few times before, but it's the time to pounce, isn't it? Regardless.
It is a time to pounce. Like there might be a change of style, and that the manager might want to implement. It might take a while. Do you know what I mean? Because you got to remember, Emma Hayes has been the backbone of that club for probably the last number of years. And when you've got a manager of that stability and that much success, it's not easy for a new manager to come in and just implement their ideas and expect it to happen. So I think there will be a little bit of a to adapt to for the players, but I still think they'd be a massive threat. I still think they'd be up there. They're Chelsea Football Club. They're very successful in the women's game, aren't they? So I think they will be. I think they will be up there, and I just think then Man City and Arsenal will be the top 3, won't they? And it's like you say. I think Man City are a massive threat this year. That if we're being totally honest, they screwed themselves over against us in that last couple of minutes of madness. It would have won the league. It lost them the league title. Like, it was ridiculous. So they're going to be hungry this year because what happened last year. So I'd probably agree with you, Charlie. I'd probably look at Man City at the moment and say, do you know, like, I'd probably look at them with Vivian gone there as well. I'll probably say that they're probably my favourites at the moment. With just Chelsea and Arsenal just behind.
Yeah, I agree. And just finally on that one, Andy, just coming to you on the likes of playing Chelsea next week in the pre-season. I know we said pre-season is pre-season, and sometimes you can't really take that on board, whatever happens. But do you think that's a a good fixture to have, just to sort of get a feel for where both teams are at that time, before it goes down to business when the league starts.
Yeah, I think it's always good to, because I think it kind of lays down a marker. I actually slightly disagree with the guys there. I think the team that finishes above Chelsea will win the league. I think the manager they brought in is fantastic. The pedigree's amazing. They've added Lucy Bronze to the squad. I mean, it's a phenomenal signing, and so they've only improved on where they've been. Sam Kerr's going to be fit at what point? At some point this season, she's going to be coming back. As they missed her for over half of the season last year.
About midway, I think.
Yeah.
Depending on rehab, it'd be around January time. Yeah,
January. Yeah, so maybe for the last few months of the season, one of the best players in the world comes back and plays for them. So I genuinely think they're the team to beat still, and I think the new manager will come in and I think it could be interesting what they could do.
Yeah, fully agree. But obviously we haven't had any games to talk about yet, so we'll obviously talk more in depth about it next Tuesday when we're back, after we play Washington on Sunday. So I think that's a late kickoff, obviously American time, but I think it's about 9:00ish. I read earlier, so I do think it might be available on Arsenal.com to watch as well. So if anyone
you got to pay for it. We're not paid for it.
No paying.
No, they won't be. They won't
Don't
charge
us for the win. We're good.
Good. No, it's good to hear. It's good to see they're not like that they're doing that. So no, that's good.
So kickoff time UK wise is 7:00 UK time in the evening.
Oh, even better.
And next Sunday, the following Sunday is 9:00 our time.
Cool.
4:00 in the US of A, and 2:00 in the US of A for this weekend.
Perfect.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
well,
cool.
There's an opportunity to watch it if it's available. To see where we're at as well. Hopefully see a couple of our new signings, especially Caldente. She signed quite a while ago. I think it was just at the end of the season. Matt actually spoke about her in one of our last shows. So it'll be obviously of her caliber as well, what she's won, and the obviously winning the World Cup and everything since, going to the Olympics, playing in big games. I think that helps us with more experience going into the new season as well. So it'll be really good chance to watch those girls, and obviously the girls we know and love anyway. But yeah, that pretty much rounds up for the women's for now, so I'll hand you back to Liam.
Brilliant. Obviously I just before we finish the show tonight, just want to obviously make everyone aware, if they're not aware, obviously on Saturday Arsenal are looking to do a tribute to Kevin Campbell, who sadly passed away in June. The funeral was yesterday, where they laid Kevin to rest. Obviously, something that I think emotionally a lot of us are still not pretty much over with. And Saturday, I think it's going to be a very emotional time in terms of being in the stadium. But obviously, Andy, who's with us tonight, played with Kevin back in the late 80s. And I just wanted to give this moment for him to kind of give his thoughts in terms of Kevin as a player, as a person, and how you've kind of taken it, Andy, over the past 2 months since obviously Kevin's sadly left us.
It's been a tough one, because I've known for a while that he'd been really poorly as well. I've been in contact with Dave Hillier, who kept me updated as to what was happening with Kev. So I was kind of aware of the seriousness of his illness anyway. Still couldn't believe that the big man couldn't just shake it off. He could shake everything else off in his life easily. Sadly, not this one. My memories of Kevin as well, they're just, when I think back, to just such special memories. He was, from the minute you kind of walk through the doors, you look around the changing room, and you can see the people that you're up against. You're all vying for these professional contracts. But with Big Kev, it was just written. You just knew he had that something extra to everybody. He was bigger. He was faster. I mean, he was a goal machine. If we could have had Kevin like he was back in the youth team back in the day, I mean, he was just a destroyer. Something our first team were actually crying out for. He'd run through brick walls for his teammates. And I've read all the eulogies. I've read all the stuff that's been said about Kevin, and I am really lucky in as much as that I spent 3 years with him, day in day out, and trained with him, and got lifts home with him. So I got to know Kevin away from football a little bit as well, and he was just such a special guy. He bled Arsenal through and through. He was almost larger than life. Going into youth team games, half the time we'd go into the match on a Saturday and the game was kind of half won because everyone was terrified of Kevin. He was a big bruiser up front, but he was never a nasty man. He was never an angry man. But yet, it's almost like a stampede coming through the Serengeti when he come running through you, because he would just obliterate teams sometimes. And then more than happy to pick them up, shake their hands after games, and a real gentleman to boot as well. I remember when he got his he got himself like a Ford Escort cabriolet just after he'd signed his professional contract, and I was lucky enough to get lifts back from him to Southgate, which was quite close to where I was in digs at the time. So I'd come back with Kevin in his car and with a roof down, and I'm some little scruffy kid from the northeast in a cabriolet driving down the M25 thinking I was the bee's knees. Kevin had got me into Public Enemy. My God, Public Enemy. But he was just someone that everybody knew. Even the first teamers knew that he was destined to go on to do so well. And I think the fact that he was so kind of grounded with it as well. In the youth teams, him and Alan Shearer kind of ran away with the scoring records in the combination and the youth team leagues at the time. But honestly, I had to put my mortgage on Kevin above Shearer at that time as a kid. He just had the lot. And as I said, the bit he had time for everybody. He genuinely had time for everybody. He was just such a big, gentle, kind of, just a lovely man. His family must be so proud, and I'm proud to the fact that I've known him as a player and as a friend for the few years the 7 years I was there at the club. So I'm really thankful for that. But I'm just in a bit of shock, really. I still can't get my head around the fact that he's not here. Similarly to Alan Miller, who passed. He's our goalkeeper in the youth team. I just can't believe like Alan and Kevin are gone. It's mind blowing. If I really think about it, I get upset. But top men and people at Arsenal as a club try to bring young lads through and grow them into men and grow them into gentlemen. And he was almost like a standard bearer. And you think of all the quality players that have come through over the years and have blossomed from youth team to pro, and they've just been, just absolute gentlemen, and he was certainly one of them.
Yeah, no, obviously I really appreciate, Andy, you giving us that kind of moment to kind of obviously remember Kevin, but also some really good stories there, mate. And I know we kind of spoke about some of the stories prior, didn't we, on your first show regarding Kevin. And I think we'd all agree, such a totally larger life character, absolutely missed. And even you talking about it just sends shivers down me still. I think it's one of them that's going to take a long, long time to kind of digest. And obviously, even I'm looking forward to going to the Emirates Saturday, and I can't say I'm looking forward to obviously the tribute, because I just don't think I'm over in terms of that he's not with us anymore. It's going to be a lovely moment, but it's not something that I can sit there and naturally say that I'm actually looking forward to it. So that doesn't sit right with me at the moment.
No, I know, but he deserves the best send off ever, really. And he'll get that on the weekend. That would be brilliant. And I think we said before, didn't we, Jonesy? And that, like, you just don't get many people like Kevin's character that have touched so many hearts in terms of over the years on social media. He's been such a good person, gets involved in the community. Like, first time I met Ryan on the stream, Kevin was actually on. It was a charity event, weren't it, Ryan? And Kevin was on here with us. I remember it was a Bank Holiday Monday, I think. But that was the kind of bloke he was, weren't it? Like, Bank Holiday Monday, and he's supporting a charity at 11:30 in the morning.
just such a fantastic guy. And I think, like you said, Andy, he'll get the best send off on Saturday, and 60,000 fans will remember that guy for a long, long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I was also say I think it was a class thing from the club to do what they did yesterday, have the wake at the stadium with his family and all the teammates and everyone else.
Yeah. But that's like Arsenal have always been classy, haven't they, in terms of the way they conduct themselves? And it's just nice that, obviously, like in a total different era nowadays, that we're still keeping that class aside. But yeah, just obviously, thoughts still go out to his family at this moment of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Obviously, last part of the show, we're just going to go do a round robin in terms of the results. Just before that, though, G, I've had a request from Dean. I mean, Dean Smith.
No, thank you.
He's asking if we can see the back of your ass.
No, thank you.
No.
That's a bit creepy, not going to lie. Yeah, it's got a woman's name, so don't worry, it's mine.
Yeah.
I'm not stolen it off someone. It is my shirt.
Yeah. Anyway, on to bigger and better things. Saturday, score prediction. So I'm going to go to you first, Ryan. What are you going for first game of the season?
First game at home. I think if I said this the other day in the chat, if we can turn up and we're professional, we don't take Wolves lightly, like, as a collective. 3 or 4-0, I think. Just if we do that. If we don't, I can see it being a tightly contested 2-0.
You only allowed one result. You got to have one.
I'll go to 3. I'll go to 4.
You going 4, yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
Jonesy?
I need to take off my England hat, don't I? Because I was giving some dodgy results there. No, I'm going 5-0 actually. We're gonna benchmark it. Fucking go for it, yeah. Saka hat trick. Calafiori gets his first goal. Boom, Havertz. Let's fucking roll.
I mean, we kind of have to with Chelsea playing City the next day, so we kind of have to get the goal to straight.
Exactly, yeah.
Charlie first.
3-0.
Going 3-0, yeah?
Yeah.
G?
I was going to say 3-0 as well, yeah. Hate to jump on the bandwagon, but I'm going to go 3.
Andy, I'm expecting you to go for a more tighter one.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1. It'll be a closer game because it's the first game of the season, but we'll win 2-1.
Forest all over again, that way.
Yeah.
I'm going to go. I'm going to go 3-1. Yeah, I'm going to go 3-1. I think we'll win it comfortably in the end. But I do agree that I think that if we have got the capability, haven't we, to put them outside in the first 30 minutes, then it wouldn't surprise me that happened. But I think if we concede a goal, then I think that potentially it might make it a little bit tougher for us. But I think we'll be comfortable in the end. So I'm going to go 3-1. And that's pretty much it for our first show back. So first show of the 2024-25 season is done and dusted. The cobwebs are off us now. So G, obviously, thank you very much yet again for kind of co-hosting with me. You're going to be running the show next Tuesday, by the way. It's your turn.
Nice. All in for it.
Yeah, absolutely. But there'll be some good discussion next week where we'll have the women's game in terms of the friendlies and also to review the Arsenal Wolves game.
Yeah, exactly. And probably some pictures to pop up from the weekend as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think we need to bring back the pictures each week, don't we? So, yeah, looking forward to that. And obviously looking forward to seeing you on Saturday as well. So safe journey down and we'll have a few drinks on Saturday.
Absolutely. Very much looking forward to it. It is mine, yours, Jonesy's 4th season going into this. So obviously doing the shows, we've known Charlie that long as well. So yeah, it's 4 years of going strong.
We was losing to Man City 5-0 at that time, weren't we?
5-0 first show, yeah.
First game 5-0. So yeah.
Yeah,
there might even be a poll table at the end of it. You never know.
There you go, bringing it back.
Exactly. Obviously, Andy, thank you very much, mate, for coming on again. Hopefully, he's going to have you on
I've really enjoyed it
over the season.
Yeah, and can I just say, by the way, just go a bit easy on Liverpool, will you? Because my other half sat here, Stacey, and she's a massive Liverpool fan, and I know she's seething. So yeah,
Ooh.
You know what? They finished second behind us.
that'll do. That'll keep everyone sweet.
Thank you, Charlie, for coming on, mate. Hopefully we'll see you again over the course of the season. I'm sure we will.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you'll see me Saturday because I'll be there.
Oh yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely, we'll catch up Saturday.
Definitely. Yeah, I can't wait.
People.
Hopefully I'll be able to get onto some more shows as well. Just a bit busy at the moment.
Yeah, no, and obviously continue to obviously get yourself fit, mate, and get yourself back.
Definitely. Cheers.
And obviously Jonesy, cheers coming on. Obviously done your WWE show last night, mate. Great first show on terms of the new channel. I think over 500, 600 views. Actually, I think it was up to 700 just on Twitter alone. But yeah, well done, mate.
Yeah, cheers. No, I checked before we come online. We've gone over 1,000 views, so which is really brilliant for the show coming back. So yeah, thanks for the platform. Thanks for having me on, guys. You know I'm always around here, and I can't wait for Saturday. It's been too long, guys. It's been too long.
Good man, and obviously thank you very much, Ryan. Obviously, what you got coming up on the channel over the next kind of week or so?
Tomorrow night, it's a bit of an impromptu one, but we're doing a tier ranking all the Premier League kits. Basically, all the Premier League kits that have been officially put out by the clubs in the Premier League. Go over tier ranking them by tiers and all that. Try and get a few more people on for that. Be a bit of a laugh. Go into that. Ignore that game tomorrow night. Just come here, have a laugh, and get yourself ready for the real football on Saturday. And then I'm here Saturday 2:30, 5 before kick-off, get all the team news in, everyone in, watch the game, hopefully 3 points on the board. And then the girls on Sunday, sorry, cover the girls on Sunday night. So a busy weekend for me, but it'll be worth it. And then obviously you guys are back on Tuesday.
Yeah, there's absolutely loads going on, isn't there? In terms of obviously shows and everything coming up. So obviously keep tuned, guys. Just want to obviously say thank you to everyone in the chat. Been absolutely superb again. Good seeing some old faces in, and also seeing some good new faces in as well. So thank you very much for joining us. It leaves me obviously just to say that obviously we ended the season on an absolute high note. This is how the atmosphere played out. Same again Saturday, please.